Hi all, Bones here from BSA Bantams, and welcome back to our workshop. In this video what we're going to do is give you an insight into some of the repairs that we have to tackle when we do engine rebuilds. We have a customer engine in from Western Australia and it's got some major challenges. So we'll get into it and I'll actually show you what we're up against and how we're going to actually repair it and the repairs that we do. So as you can see, we've got a massive gaping hole here where we've thrown the chain smashed through the left hand centre case and the outer left hand case. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to build these up with Weld, and the engine case will be set up in the milling machine and milled back, whereas the outer case, it's actually on a bit of an angle, so we'll blend that with a die grinder. But if I can hold that right there, I don't know whether you can pick that up. There is a massive gap there. At some point, someone has tried to effect a repair. And they've machined that back. It's a different height to this, so you can also see where there's a step up here and they've machined this down as well. So these surfaces here aren't the same height as over here. So obviously when you go to clamp the cases up, it would start bending your outer case. And that's just the start of it. In here, if you look where the case drain plug, well, half of it's still there, and they've tried to drill the original case drain plug out. The drill's run off, as it always does. They drilled out the side, then they jammed a wood screw in there. So we're going to have to try and get the remnants of the case drain plug out. How we're going to go about that, we've got two options. So we're going to try and build it up with a MIG weld to have enough to grab hold of it with a pair of multi-grips and try and unscrew it. Failing that, we'll have to set it up in the milling machine and mill the whole lot out, build the whole lot up with Weld, re-spot face, re-drill, re-tap. Irrespective if we get the remnants of the drain plug out, we're still going to have to build it up with Weld anyway and machine it. So yeah, bit of work to go before we get on with this. These cases are going away to be vapor blasted. So we have to effect all those repairs before they get done. Damage down here I'm not too worried about, but this stuff definitely, because when you get chain slinging and throwing rubbish into your ignition, whatever ignition you're running, this one it will be fitted up with an one of my electronic ignitions. So yeah, so for these repairs, to build these back up, we'll probably put a screw in here, weld around it, touch mark with a fly cutter over here, machine it back off. So first thing we're going to tackle is this case drain plug. So we're just prepping now. Bit of spatter guard. Another can please, Jess. Bit of spatter guard to protect our cases. Generally it takes a couple of goes to sort of get it to bond, and we'll just see how we go. That's all we can do. Righto mate, may as well fire up. We've got a little bit in out there. We'll just see how we go, see if we can get onto it. Right, I'm going to build a bit more weld up, so I've got a bit more purchase on the top of the little bag. I've got a bit more movement out of it, nuts. So we're slowly having a bit of a win. So you can see down right, clean the crap off the scriber. So you can see from sort of there up to there is actually thread. So this is where I've built the weld up all the way up, and I've been gripping it on here. So it's just slowly working it backwards and forwards. Now the problem is it's probably got a burr on the remnants of the case drain plug, so that's dragging, it's starting to move. And the more it exposes, the more you've got to grip onto. My goodness, I think we might have it. Well, not quite. Sorry about my hand being in the way, but there it is. She's out. You can see down here where they've drilled the side of it out, but we've got it out. That's great. I'm very happy. It only took a couple of welding goes. Now we've just got to clean out the hole and weld it back up and fix all that up. The first job is out of the way. So obviously we've just been in with the die grinder and clean that hole out. And what I'll do is I'll put a bit of copper sheet underneath it, or even a bit of spring steel, and then I'll just weld that hole all the way back up. Alright, so we've welded up our case drain hole, and I'm really happy with that. And the reason for that is you can just see the semicircular profile there of the original spot face, which gives us a reference. So when we spot face it down, we'll also be able to pick up a center to be able to center drill, chamfer and tap. Underneath on the inside up here, we put a piece of spring steel which we clamped up, and that allowed me just to bore a heap of weld into the hole without it all dropping through or burning that bottom edge away. And I'll take you off the camera and we'll show you the inside. Sorry, I'll take you off the tripod, not the camera. I'm trying to get that into focus for you, but you can just see how it's just filled up that hole nicely there. I'm sorry about that. But we've got no drop through or anything that we have to clean up on the inside now. Yeah, there you go, it's coming into focus. You can see a bit of the black burn edge away when it first started, so yeah, pretty happy with that. So what Justy's doing now is actually bolting these cases together. When he gets the bolts, we'll clamp both these cases together now, and then we'll effect the repairs where the chain has broken through. And the reason for that we're going to bolt them together is it minimises the distortion of the cases with the amount of heat that you've got to put in with welding. We'll keep the cases tightly bolted up, and then we'll just let them cool down like that. It's always worked really well in the past, so I've never had an issue where I've distorted the cases. Alright, so what Justin's doing over there is he's just doing the weld prep on the left hand engine case, and what we're doing is grinding away all the rough edge so it's a nice machine, well, smooth flat edge, so the weld will take to it a lot better. So once that's all nice and flat, Justy will start welding that up. So that red dot's the temperature gun, and I'm sorry about handheld. What we've got is a heat gun going in, preheat the cases nice and hot before we start welding to minimise any distortion. So one of the challenges we're going to face is building up this area here and here. So I'm not too worried about the holes because we're going to put a screw in that and the weld won't, even though we might not have a properly formed thread because the weld, we've got enough thread way down in there, so that's not a worry. It's actually burning away this edge along here with the actual welder. So we've also got to build this up over here. So the same deal, just trying to be able to build it up too much, build it up enough without burning the edge away. So it may be that we try and stick it away from this edge and just not have as full contact area as was originally there. But first things first, we've got to get that all built up because obviously it has to come up to this level that is going to get built up here as well. So we're just waiting for the cases to come up to temperature and we'll start putting some weld into it. Alright, so Just has built up the broken out centerpiece. I've got a couple of screws in there, and now what I'm going to attempt to do is build up these areas around here and around here, and then get it to sort of blend into there so we can face the whole lot off in one hit. So we've got the left-hand engine case set up in the milling machine, and Justin's just got a fly cutter in the mill, and we're just machining the top of the weld down level with the case before we put a 6mm cutter in and start machining up the side. And I apologise for the camera going in and out of focus, it doesn't like going around the milling machine for some reason. Alright, we've finished milling our weld down to depth. You can just see over here just where I touched it, and you can see that real definite line through there where they'd milled it out before. So what we're going to do now is actually mill the profile of this through here, get it nice and back and straight. And there's our finished product. So very happy with this. From the start of the video, you saw the great big gaping hole in there. So we've got that all filled up. Cases obviously sitting nice and flat. That they marry up obviously perfectly because they've been machined that way, and that's not going to let any crap in from the back. So very good. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of the repairs that we have to do sometimes, and the repairs to these cases. It's turned out pretty well. I'm pretty happy. Obviously that's not going to let any crap through into the ignition system. So job well done. To all my subscribers, thank you very much for your continuing support. If you haven't hit like or subscribe, please do. It's really good if you do. And that's about it. So from Justin and I at BSA Bantams, we'll see you later.